All right, back to some Blake 7. Yeah. Well, the first 2 episodes I thought were pretty good, even better than I remembered. And but the next 2, well, they're not bad. I wouldn't say that, but I don't think they hold up to the level of the first 2. Even though there's some interesting ideas here, and boy, the first one, Cygnus Alpha, which is the name of the prison planet that Blake and everybody was being sent to by the Federation. The situation on the planet is very reminiscent and probably was stolen for Alien 3. You know, where the prison is rather abandoned and the prisoners that remained are just there, but they all formed this religion. Of course, the Cygnus Alpha takes it much further. There's quite the cult awaiting them on that planet, and basically it's just a planet, and they dump their unwanted on there, and you're on your own, guys. And they leave, and all that's there of any kind of facility is the cult. They basically dominate the planet, and they're very creepy and weird in their robes and all of that. So we have Villa and Gan. They arrive on this planet, and they're wandering around, and then the cult shows up, and they're like, well, guess we gotta hook up with these guys. Especially since the lead chick, who's really hot, makes out with Gan. I mean, I was like, was that part of the greeting? But he's the only one that gets it, so she likes big, beefy men. So she takes to him pretty quick. And I believe she was played by the same woman who appears in the Doctor Who episode I just reviewed, which I'll be put up either later or maybe before this. I can't keep up. Anyway, Pamela Salem was the actress. And apparently she was almost Leela herself. But, well, didn't happen that way. Anyway, here she is as some crazy cult chick. Following the leader, of course, played by the great Brian Blessed, and God bless him. Well, join my cult. Am I not the word of the God of this world? Whatever. Basically, he's Jim Jones in space, and they trick him right off the bat. Convince them that there's a virus on the planet, and they got a drug that can treat it, but you got to keep taking it, otherwise you'll get sick and die. Of course, it's a ruse. It's just a poison that, you know, it's not. It makes you feel bad, but then you pass it, and then you're good. Meanwhile, the Liberator is on its way there because Blake wants to do his revolution, and he wants to go get a crew from the prisoners, and he figures he can convince them to join his revolution, so he wants to fly back there. Of course, Avon's like, that's a dumb idea. And in a lot of ways, he's right. So, but Blake, of course, is a hero, so he has to do this. So he beams down, he gets his butt handed to him by the clone people, but they discover the teleport on the Liberator. And even though they don't know much about it, boy, he just jumps right in. Well, let's test it. Good God. He could have materialized in solid rock. And, hey, I wonder what happened to Blake. And they beam back at some pile of meat. Whoops. But, well, you know. But most importantly, they discovered Zen, which is the computer that controls the ship. And it can also read their minds and all this stuff. It names the ship the Liberator because it's a word it read in Jenna's mind, so you can owe that to Jenna, and all of that stuff. And so it's a good thing they stumbled onto that, because, you know, alien ship and everything, and probably never would have figured it out. But as far as the teleport goes, it kind of looked like they were on their own there. But anyway, Zen, of course, is a very important part of the team, and without which, they probably wouldn't have been able to master that ship. And you say, well, isn't that convenient? Well, yeah, but it works, you know. It's a nice little fix they've got there. And although there's some mysterious moments where where Zen doesn't obey their orders, and it's like, hey, what's that about? You know. And then there's the interest. It's some things I wasn't quite sure on this, where they find the weapons each one can have, but you're only allowed one, because when you go to grab another one, it burns your hand. So at one point, Blake has the weapon with him, but he gets knocked out, and then Brian, Vargas, the cult leader, he picks it up and fires it. So I guess, I don't know, I guess it doesn't work off the ship. I would have figured it would make it impossible for anyone to turn your own weapon against you. It only answers to Blake's hand, but I guess not. But anyway, so yeah, it's not a bad episode per se. It's just there were some things, it seems like it was leading to something more, especially with the Pamela Salem character, Kara. And even at the end, when Blake convinces the guys to turn on the cult and they fight their way out, she apparently really did have feelings for Gan, because she reaches out to him and it gets killed and all that. And oh, damn. Poor Gan, his one shot at a hot chick, you know? It was gone. So they escape. And but Vargas manages to get on with them and tries to hold them hostage, but he doesn't understand the teleport pad, and he's standing there, and so Blake beams him into space, and he explodes. So, hey, look, Blake's trying to save the galaxy, of course, but he's pretty hardcore about it. And the guy was a creep anyway. So most of the guys got killed in the battle, so all you got is Villa and Gan, and so there you go. The crew is growing somewhat, but well, that's it. This is what you get. And you got Villa, who's a good thief. He knows how to pick locks. He demonstrates that in the next episode, Time Squad, as Blake begins his attack and revenge on the Federation. And of course, Gan, he would figure, well, he's the muscle, you know. But there's a problem, and we discover that Gan has this implant in his brain. It's right in his skull. You can see it, and it restricts him for what he's supposed to be able to do. And when he tries to go against it, it punishes him, and he gets sick and all this. The problem is, as the ship comes upon a distress call, and they find this escape pod. They bring it in, and that's an interesting scene. They do this where it's very hard to get it. Blake and Jenna teleport over, and then for whatever reason, the ship won't let them teleport back. So Avon has to maneuver the ship so that they can bring the pod into the Liberator, and they do. And they go in, and there's these guys cryogenically frozen in there. Turns out they're some sort of guardians for a genetic collection in there. And so they're very violent, and they attack Jenna and Gan with the ship. And so that's going on while Blake and Avon and Villa head down to the planet to meet up with some guerrilla fighters that they want to team up with in the effort to oppose the Federation. Well, the guerrilla team is long gone. They've been wiped out. There's only one member left, Callie, who turns out to be telepathic. And so this is how they introduce Callie, who of course becomes a member of the crew herself. And at first she fights with Blake, but then she understands that he's actually on her side. And they join forces to attack the communication array on this planet as a strike against the Federation, and they set it up to explode, and of course, oh no, it's gonna blow, and then right before it does, they're teleported back, but only just because Gan was suffering injuries from the attack and also his problems with the implant and whatnot, and he manages to teleport them at the last possible second. And then Blake rescues Jenna, and well, they get rid of the damn pod. And then Callie figures, hey, you know what? I'm tired of living in caves and stuff. I'll hang out with you guys on the Liberator. So there you go. Blake has got his team now as they move forward. So entertaining shows, all well and good, and falling in with the narrative and, of course, Blake's mission, and then Avon constantly saying, come on, this is stupid. They don't really have a chance. And the odd thing about it, a little bit of a spoiler here, I know how this series ends. They really don't. So there's a team part there where Jenna finds some treasure on the ship, and then Avon says, well, why don't we just split? You know, screw Blake, he's an idiot, let's just go. But Jenna actually appears. I don't know, I can't remember how much they pursued this, if they did, but it appears that she does have some amount of affection for Blake and certainly cares for what he's trying to do and is somewhat a believer in it, even though nobody believes in it as much as Blake does. So, there you go, Cygnus, Alpha, and Time Squad of Blake 7.
Alright, thank you for watching and listening. Slay. Why not like and subscribe and check out that link description below. That'll take you to my mini stores and have plenty of goodies for you. You know, hats, mugs, stickers, posters, all that goody stuff. Plus, you can head over to indieplanet.com and pick up a copy of my comic book Night Night. Oh, yeah. Plus, you can also catch my podcast, Mr Nailsin Show, over at RadioMisfits.com. And you can also watch my videos on my channel at BitChute. That's the Mr Nailsin channel on BitChute.com.